All right. Okay. So the first chapter of your syllabus is wave shaping circuits using diodes. Right. Okay. So in the prerequisite session, we had discussed about the diodes. Okay, diodes are the fundamental electronic devices. They are mainly used as rectifiers in the day-to-day applications, electronic applications. Now, uh, we had seen that the diodes can be used as the rectifiers. They can also be used in various wave shaping circuits. So out of all the applications for your syllabus, we have kept only the wave shaping circuits. Okay, and in the wave shaping circuits, there are two main applications called as clippers and clampers. So this particular chapter will be allotted 6 hours. Although it actually requires hardly 2 to 3 hours, but we'll have to solve a lot of examples in order to be clear with the concepts of clippers and clampers. Okay, so for that the number of hours has been extended to 6 hours. Okay, so to begin with, what are the chapter contents? The contents will be clippers and clampers. So to start with, what is a clipper? Okay, so let's look at the definition of a clipper circuit. Well, clippers are the networks, they are the circuits that employ diodes to clip away a certain portion of an input signal without distorting the remaining part of the applied waveform. Okay, so that's the standard textbook definition. We'll try to understand the details in a short while. Okay, but just focusing on the important points. Okay, so let's try to focus on certain important points here. Okay, so first of all, clippers are networks. Okay, so whenever we say any network, there will be diodes, there will be resistors, there will be power supplies, okay, which employ diodes to clip away. What does clip mean in terms of analog electronics? Clip in the sense to remove certain portions. Okay, so that is they employ diodes to clip away a portion of an input signal without distorting. So this term is extremely important. Without distorting the remaining part or the remaining portion of the applied waveform. So there are two general categories with respect to clippers. The first one is called series clippers. So in series clippers, the diode is in series with the load. Okay, what do we mean by load? Normally we use a resistor as the load. Okay, and in the second case we have parallel clippers. Here the diode is in parallel with the load. Okay, so just to say it once again, series clippers, the diode is in series with the load. Parallel clippers, the diode is in parallel with the load. Okay, now just to reiterate, or just to say here, so if we consider this to be symbol of a diode, and if I just connect a resistor here, okay, let me call this as diode D, and let this be load resistor RL. So in this case I can say that the diode is in series with the load. Okay, both of them are in series, right? However, if I draw the circuit like this, draw the diode here and let the load resistor be in parallel with it. Okay, so in this case I can say that the diode D is in parallel with a load resistance. And suppose if I want to take the output across the load resistor, okay, then I can say that the diode is in parallel with the load resistor. Okay, so I hope the question of series and parallel, okay, is clear to you. Next, how do we analyze a clipper circuit? Okay, there are some very important points to be considered. Please pay attention here. Okay. The first point is, take a careful note of where the output voltage is defined. So I'll stress upon the term output voltage. Okay, so take a very careful note of where the output voltage is being defined. Like is it defined across the diode, is it defined across the load resistor, or any other portion of the circuit. Generally we try to take the output voltage across the load resistor RL. Okay, usually it is RL. Next, try to develop an overall sense of the response by simply noting the pressure established by each supply and the effect it will have on the conventional current direction through the diode. Okay, so the sentence is quite lengthy, but let's try to simplify it. It says use KVL. Well, KVL stands for Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay, we'll be taking an example and then try to illustrate it, but yes, the summary is use KVL wherever it is required. Next, determine the applied voltage, which is called as the transition voltage, that will result in a change of state for the diode from off to on state. So the third point is extremely important. Okay, let me stress on it. The third point is extremely important for our clipper analysis. So you will have to determine the transition voltage which is required such that the diode will convert its state from off to on. Okay, so what is the voltage required for the diode to convert its state from off to on? Okay, so that is called the transition voltage. Okay, the transition voltage varies. It also depends on the supply voltage. The fourth point, it is often helpful to draw the output waveform directly below the applied voltage. Okay, yes, that means suppose if I draw the input signal like this, then you will have to draw the output signal just below it. Okay, the output signal could be of any type. Okay, but for easier understanding you will have to draw it like this. Okay, it could be like this or it could be something like this, anything, but it has to be drawn. The output waveform has to be directly drawn below the applied input signal. If I consider this to be Vi input signal, then the output signal should be drawn just below it. Okay, so that's the meaning of the fourth point. Clear? Okay, fine. So then applied voltage using the same scales for the horizontal and the vertical axis. Yes, so that's clear point, which means the axis should also be the same. Okay, if this is in volts, then the output voltage should also be in volts. Okay, it should not be like if the input is in volts, then the output should not be in millivolts or maybe microvolts as such. Okay, the scales should be same for input as well as output. Okay, so these 4 points help us a lot in the clipper analysis. Okay, fine. So I hope my voice is clear to the students. Let me just stop for a while here and then ask for your response. Okay, students, is my voice audible? Okay, somebody can just speak up.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Okay, fine, good. Thank you. All right, so moving forward, let us go to the next slide. How does the simplest clipper circuit look like? Okay, first of all we'll be discussing about series clipper circuit. On the slide you can see the simplest series clipper circuit. What are the components present here? You just have a diode and a resistor, and we are applying a input voltage Vi, and we are trying to obtain the output voltage across the load resistor R or RL. Okay, now let's try to apply some input signal to it. I am trying to use a digital writing pad, so it will take some time for us to adjust. Okay, the handwriting may look a little shabbier, but we will have to adjust, okay, to these things. All right, so here it is being specified that input signal is Vi. Okay, let's try to take a sinusoidal signal. Well, how does a sinusoidal signal appear like? So if I draw it here, it looks like this. If I consider this to be Vi, then Vi can be denoted as Vi equal to Vm sine of omega t. Okay, hope you can relate the things to your signals here. Okay, this is how a sinusoidal signal is being represented mathematically. Now how do I draw it? Okay, well, this is how a sinusoidal signal looks like, where Vm is the maximum amplitude. Okay, so during the positive half cycle it will be plus Vm, and during the negative half cycle it will be minus Vm. Okay, so that's the input signal which we are trying to feed, okay, to this overall circuit. Now regarding the diode, for simplification purpose, let us assume that it is a ideal diode without any drop. Okay, practically there is no ideal diode, but just for analysis purpose, let us consider it to be an ideal diode. Now what's the difference between an ideal diode and a practical diode? Yes, very quickly let me just draw the characteristics of the diode current, ID versus Vd. Okay, so if I just go on applying the voltage across a diode, how does a silicon diode behave like? Okay, practically we have silicon diode. So a silicon diode behaves like this, right? Okay, we had seen it in one of our previous class. So this is called as knee voltage or the cut-in voltage. Usually for a silicon diode it will be 0.7 volts, silicon diode. Okay, however, if the diode is ideal, then there is no cut-in voltage at all. Okay, the moment you apply voltage across a diode, it just gets switched on. Okay, so this is how it appears for a ideal diode. Okay, so that is for a ideal diode, which means for ideal diode, knee voltage or the cut-in voltage will be 0. Okay, so as of now we are trying to assume the diode to be ideal, and then we will move on towards practical scenario. Fine. Okay, so what does the second step of the previous slide mention? It mentioned something about KVL. Okay, which means the power supply voltage which we apply drops across the various components present in the circuit. Okay, so what does that mean? If I apply this input voltage Vi, that voltage drops accordingly across the diode and across the load resistor. Now since we have considered ideal diode, and I just mentioned that an ideal diode conducts instantaneously without any drop. Okay, so there is absolutely no drop across the diode. So what does that mean? The entire voltage which we apply, the entire input signal that we apply, has to drop completely across the load resistor. Okay, let me call it as RL. Okay, RL stands for load resistor, and we are trying to obtain the output across the load resistor RL. Now let me just apply KVL, okay, for better understanding. Okay, so applying KVL, it is the input voltage Vi is equal to the drop across the diode, which is Vd, plus the drop across the load resistor RL. Okay, now if we assume that the diode conducts, then the current flowing through the diode will be ID. Okay, and the same current has to flow across RL also. Why? Because the diode and the load resistor are in series. Okay, the same current has to flow through the load resistor RL also. So how can I split it? VD plus ID RL. Okay, so that is my input signal Vi. So we have just applied the KVL here. Okay, fine. Now let's try to analyze it, what actually happens. Okay, see, the sinusoidal input signal can be divided into two portions. Okay, so this first portion is called positive half cycle, and the second one is called negative half cycle. Okay, it should be very clear, and it is self-explanatory. Okay, so during positive half cycle, right, what happens? Okay, during the positive half cycle, diode conducts, right. So when the diode conducts, it is on. Okay, so when it is on, it behaves like a short circuit. Yes or no? Okay, so the diode just behaves like a short circuit, and across a short circuit there is absolutely no drop, so the entire voltage has to appear across the load resistor RL. So the diode conducts, it's on, and it behaves like a short circuit. So when it behaves like a short circuit, the entire voltage drops across load resistor RL. Okay, so that is what it happens during the positive half cycle. Now let us try to understand it with respect to graph. Okay, I just draw it in a much more clear way. Vi is equal to Vm sine of omega t. So that is our time axis, and this is the amplitude axis. Okay, so that's the sinusoidal signal with plus Vm and minus Vm. Okay, fine. Now to concentrate on the output signal, V0, either I can write it as V0 or VRL. Okay, both mean the same thing, which is voltage across the okay, so this is the way you are supposed to mark, okay, the things, okay, so that it will be easy for us to understand the waveforms graphically. Okay, so during the positive half cycle, the diode is on, D is on. Okay, diode is on, so that the entire voltage drops across the load resistor RL. Okay, which means what should be the magnitude here? Will it be higher than Vm, lower than Vm, or exactly equal to Vm? Well, as per the physics, it should be exactly equal to Vm. Okay, there is absolutely no drop. That's it. Okay, now what happens during the negative half cycle? During negative half cycle, okay, so during the negative half cycle, the diode is off. Very important. Okay, so if the diode is off, it does not conduct. So when it does not conduct, it behaves as if it is a open circuit. Okay, which means this is how it behaves. Okay, open circuit. Okay, right. So which means that's the status. So whenever the diode behaves like an open circuit, the entire input signal drops across the open circuit itself. Okay, now you will have to link the concepts to your network analysis. Short circuit, no voltage drop. Okay, maximum current flows. Open circuit, no current flows, and the entire voltage drops here. Okay, so when the entire voltage drops here, will there be any drop across the load resistor RL? No. Okay, so no voltage appears across RL. That means I'll be getting a flat line here. Okay, no voltage is appearing. If I just mark the scales, right? Okay, so this is how the circuit behaves. Okay, well, that's the most simplest form of a series clipper circuit. Now, can anybody identify this particular circuit? I am sure in your basic electronics you must have studied this particular circuit. See, we can also call this circuit as a half-wave rectifier circuit, right? Because during the positive half cycle the diode is conducting, and it is it acts as a perfect conductor. However, in the negative half cycle it is not conducting, it is rectifying. Okay, the circuit behaves as a rectifier. So in plain terms I can say that this circuit is also called as a half wave rectifier circuit. Okay, so a half wave rectifier circuit is the simplest form of series clipper circuit available. Is that clear, okay, to you students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. See, now there is something called transfer characteristics. Okay, well, I do not have any space here, but still I'll try to manage. Okay, here. Well, there is something called as transfer characteristics. Okay, transfer characteristics. Transfer characteristic in simple terms is a graph of the variation of the output signal with respect to the input signal. Okay, like when the input is varying like this, okay, just concentrate on the graph. When the input is varying like this, in what way does the output vary? Will it faithfully follow the input signal, or will it take some other way or some other path? For this particular circuit, let us try to understand. Okay, so let me draw the axis first and denote it like this. VI stands for input and V0 stands for output across RL. Okay, so you will have to tell me. Well, I'll just take some other colored pen so that it will be easy for us to understand. Okay, fine. So see here in the input graph, input is varying from 0 to plus Vm, right? Plus Vm. So that I'll have to indicate it. Vm. Okay. So when the input signal is varying from 0 to Vm, the output signal is also varying from 0 to plus Vm itself. Okay, that means if the input is 1, then the output will also be 1. If the input is 2 volts, then the output will also be 2 volts. So in that way the output will also be Vm. Okay, so what does that mean? Output signal is linearly varying, is linearly following the input signal. So this will be the graph. Okay, right? So this will be the graph in the positive half cycle. Okay, now what will be the behavior in the negative half cycle? In the negative half cycle, we have just done with the half of the part. Now again, in the positive half cycle, the input changes from plus Vm to again 0. So does the output signal. It also varies from plus Vm to 0. So we'll be moving from 0 to plus Vm. Again we'll come back here. Okay, so that is one half cycle. move from 0 to plus Vm, again come back from plus Vm to 0. So that is one half cycle. Then during the negative half cycle, input is varying from 0 to minus Vm. 0 to minus Vm. Well, the input, if it varies from 0 to minus Vm, in what way is the output varying? Well, very interestingly, there is no output at all here. The output is absolutely 0. So what does that mean? Even if the input is varying, there is no output signal. Okay, so this is the transfer characteristic that we obtain. Clear? Okay, so if we ask you, suppose in your exam, if I give you this particular circuit and then ask you, try to analyze this Clipper circuit. Okay, so what you will be doing, you will first apply the KVL, write down these particular expressions, then try to analyze it with respect to input half cycle and the output half cycle. Okay, what happens to the diode in the positive half cycle, what happens to the diode in the negative half cycle, and then draw these graphs very clearly, and finally if the transfer characteristics is being asked, you will have to draw this transfer characteristics also. Is that clear? Okay, maybe one of you can just speak up. Students, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's try to proceed further. See now, let me just ask you a question. Here the input signal is a sinusoidal one. What if it is a triangular one? Suppose if the input signal is triangular, what will be the output signal? Well, the output signal should also be a triangular one, right? Because the output will just follow the input signal. Okay, and what if it is a perfect square wave like this? If the input is a square wave, then also the output will be a square wave only during the positive half cycle. In the negative half cycle, the diode will be off in any way, so there is absolutely no output. Okay, so that's how this particular circuit behaves. Hope the concepts are clear to you. Right. Okay, so the next slide explains you the same thing, okay, which I had explained so far. Well, so if your input is a sinusoidal one, the output will be a sinusoidal one only during the positive half cycle. Negative half cycle is being clipped away. So now I am using the word clipped away, which appeared in your standard definition. Clip. Okay, clip means just remove certain portion. Okay, see, the definition had two very important terms. One is to clip away the portion of the waveform which is not required, and at the same time the remaining portion should not be disturbed. Okay, so it is the same. Fine. Again, if your input signal is a square wave, the output in the positive half cycle will be a square wave. If it is a triangular, the positive half cycle across the, at the output will also be a triangular one. Okay, so that's very easy to understand, right? Okay, now things will get slightly complicated, slightly, and also become trickier if I replace an ideal transistor with a silicon transistor. Okay, so a silicon transistor, the drop, the knee voltage or the cut-in voltage is 0.7 volts. Okay, what does that mean? That means my input signal's strength should be greater than 0.7. See, say for example, if my input is just 0.2 volts, okay, this 0.2 volts is not sufficient for the diode to be on. Okay, hope you are clear with the concept, you are understanding it. Okay, so the input signal must be at least 0.7 or greater than that. It should be 0.8 or greater than that, so that the diode will behave like a short circuit and it will be on. Only when the diode is on, only when it becomes a short circuit, the current flows. Okay, and when the current flows, subsequently the voltage will drop. Now if I replace the ideal diode with a silicon diode, let me apply the KVL here once again, okay, and check just for our better understanding, applying KVL to the circuit. Okay, the same equation applies here. VI, okay, the voltage that I apply should drop across the diode, so that's VD plus VR. Okay, let it be VRL. So this is VRL. Previously VD was 0, but now VD is 0.7. So this is 0.7 volts. Okay, now let me assume that my input signal is 2 volts. Okay, so this 2 volts has to drop accordingly. Across the diode it is 0.7. Then what should be the voltage across RL? Okay, students, somebody can just try to answer it.
Less than 2.
1.3.
Less than 2 volts. Exactly, good. But how much? 1.3, right? Because 0.7 plus 1.3 add up so that it becomes 2 volts. Okay, see, the drop across the load resistor cannot be 1.4. Why? Because the input signal is itself 2 volts. Okay, always LHS has to match with RHS, right? Okay, so because of that, this voltage across RL has to be equal to 1.3. okay, now let me ask you another simple question. What if the diode is not of silicon, it is of germanium? Okay, well, germanium diode's drop is 0.3 volts. Okay, so in what way will the equation change? Well, this 2 volts has to be equal to, 0.3 volts will drop across the germanium diode, and rest, okay, how much it should be?
1.7.
1.7 volts, exactly. Okay, that's it. Okay, well, mathematically it is fine. What about graphically then? What will be the graph? Okay, I'll give you two options here, right? How the graph actually looks like. Okay, see, I am just drawing the same thing here. Okay, and let's assume that the input signal is of this kind. Okay, so this is the waveform during the positive half cycle when the diode was ideal. Okay, now if I use a silicon diode, there has to be 0.7 drop. Okay, so I'll be drawing two waveforms and I'll just ask for your answers. Okay, and then again I'll try to explain the same thing to you. So let me use two different colored things. Okay, so the first option is like this. Okay, and let me use another color to represent, okay, the one which is in blue color. Okay, right, so this is the first one, option 1, and that is option 2. Okay, so in what way will the output signal appear like? Will it be the first case or the second case? Well, this is exactly 2 volts. Students,
First case.
the first one or the second one? Yes, the waveform which actually appears in the green colored one. Okay, fine. Now it's not the correct way of drawing the waveform. Why? Because we just went through some of the points wherein one of the point mentioned that you will have to draw the axis, you will have to draw the waveforms in such a way that your input and output, both of them are aligned properly so that the scales perfectly match up. Okay, so now let me do it once again. Okay, I'll be rubbing up the things and then I'll just draw it once again. Okay, so that's the input signal. Now instead of Vm, I'll be giving it some magnitude. Okay, let Vm be equal to 2 volts. Okay, so that your sinusoidal expression will be Vi is equal to 2, where Vm is 2 sine omega of t. Okay, so during the positive half cycle Vm is plus 2, and during the negative half cycle Vm is minus 2 volts. Okay, now let me draw the output waveform considering the silicon diode. Okay, so what does the concept say? It states that the diode will not conduct unless my input signal is at least 0.7. So let me just denote a 0.7 mark here. Okay, and then just draw a vertical line. Yes. Okay, so that's the thing. Now a very important concept has to be introduced here. Okay, one of the points stated that there is something called threshold voltage. Yes. Okay, do you remember? Okay, one of the points stated that something called as Vt, which stands for transition voltage, has to be determined. So that's the transition voltage. Okay, now what is the definition for the transition voltage? Well, it is the voltage required so that the diode will change its status from off to on state. Okay, now can you tell me what is the minimum input voltage required so that the diode will change its state from off to on?
1.3.
0.7.
No, 0.7. Okay, since we have considered it as a silicon diode, right? Okay, silicon diode, it is 0.7. Good. So that means for this input voltage, this silicon diode appears to be one more battery, okay, which is trying to block the input signal. A very important point. Okay, please understand, this diode whose potential, see, whenever we say 0.7, this is nothing but the strength of depletion wall, right? Okay, just try to recollect the concepts which we had studied in the case of diodes. Okay, so this is the strength of the depletion layer. So this strength is 0.7. Okay, if my input is 0.1, okay, the strength of the depletion region is strong enough so that it will just not allow the input signal to pass through it. Okay, only when the input signal's strength exceeds 0.7 or when it at least becomes 0.7, the diode will surrender. Okay, it will surrender, and then whenever we say it will surrender, it means its off state gets converted to on state. Okay, so that means the transition voltage is 0.7. Okay, now one more important point is, does this 0.7 voltage oppose the input signal or support the input signal? See, I'll just indicate now the polarities, plus, minus. Okay, students, please pay attention here. Okay, this is a very key concept. See, my input signal as of now is moving from negative to positive. Okay, so we'll try to keep up with the convention, like if I am moving from negative to positive, I'll consider the overall thing to be positive. Okay, across the diode, what is happening now? We are moving from positive to negative. See, that's the anode, so it is positive, and that's the cathode, the symbol of a diode, so it is negative. Okay, this means this silicon diode is opposing the input signal. Okay, that means my transition voltage is minus 0.7 volts. This way of representing the sign is extremely important, because if you consider it to be positive, then the analysis will go wrong. The entire output waveform will go wrong. Okay, let me just summarize it. Okay, that this negative sign just indicates that the diode's voltage is opposing the input signal. Okay, fine. Now how will I represent this transition voltage? Okay, since it is minus 0.7, see now just pay attention at the output waveform. Okay, so that's the 0 voltage. I need to represent the transition voltage level in the output waveform. So should I represent it below the 0 level or above the 0 level? I'm asking a question to all of you. Somebody has to speak up. Should I represent, see what is VT now? Is it minus 0.7 or plus 0.7?
Minus 0.7.
I just told that it is minus 0.7. Very good. So that means I'll have to represent it below the axis. Okay, so just draw a line like this. Okay, you will have to draw this transition voltage during clipper analysis. For a simple series clipper where there was an ideal diode, there was no need, because the transition voltage was 0. However, since it is a silicon diode and it opposes the input signal, you will have to represent the transition voltage. Extremely important step. Okay, now when we do that, let's try to focus on the output waveform. See, when the input signal, I'll just take some other color pen. Okay, let me select a red one. Now when the input signal is varying from 0 till 0.7, okay, should I have any current, will there be any voltage appearing? No. Please understand, this is voltage appearing across RL, VRL. Okay, so there is absolutely no voltage appearing. What happens after that? When the input signal, this is 0.7. Okay, now when the input signal increases from 0.7 till 2 volts, I repeat, when the input signal increases from 0.7 to 2 volts, what should happen to the output signal? Whenever I say output signal, I mean to say output voltage across load resistor RL. Will there be any voltage appearing across RL or not? Yes, there will be voltage appearing across RL. Okay, so when my input signal varies from 0.7 to 2 volts, the output signal varies from 0, I'll just denote it like this. Okay, see, it is slightly tricky, but we'll try to practice some more examples on this so that the clipper concept will be clear to you. Okay, fine. So this is also 0.7, 0.7, that is 0, and this is 2 volts. So when my input increases from 0.7 to 2 volts, the output voltage across RL, it also increases from 0 till. Now can somebody tell me what will be this amplitude?
1.3.
Yes, exactly. So if you correctly identify the voltage, then you are on the correct path. Okay, you are on the correct direction in understanding the clippers. Okay, so again, when my input signal varies from 2 to 0.7, the output will also vary like this. Okay, now what will be the situation here? When the input varies from 0.7 to 0, there is absolutely no voltage appearing. So this is how the output signal appears. Okay, have you understood the concept? Okay, this is what happens during the positive half cycle. During the negative half cycle, okay, let me consider the negative half cycle. During the negative half cycle, the polarities will change. Okay, now this becomes negative and this becomes positive, right? So now can somebody tell me, I am applying negative voltage to the anode and in turn positive voltage to the cathode. So what will be the status of the diode? Will it be on or off?
Off.
Off. So when it is off, it behaves like an open circuit. Okay, so the entire voltage drops here, nothing appears across RL. Okay, so during the negative half cycle, nothing appears, 0, exactly 0. Okay, so this is how the input signal looks like. Okay, the input as well as the output signal. Fine. Just hold on for a second because the battery is low. Fine. Yes, so I think we have understood the most simplest series clipper circuit today. What about the transfer characteristics? Let me just draw it here. Okay, or else I'll just give it to you as homework. Okay, maybe you can just do it. So that's VI, it's output, and that's V in. Okay, so you will have to draw it. See, if this was the transfer characteristics, okay, when the diode was ideal, now you will have to draw the transfer characteristics when the diode is of silicon. Okay, so that will be homework for you, and then we'll just try to continue with the same thing in the next class. Okay, hope this class was useful for you, students.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so I'll just stop here for a moment, and